Welcome to my channel. This is a reading for Sagittarius. If you are new to my channel, I just want to quickly go through my layout. This is a career and finance reading for Sagittarius. The cards in the center are the Rider-Waite deck. These are all related to the career and finance aspect. I do pull a couple of cards just as a general overview, which will relate to general energy surrounding the month of May 2020 for career and finance. Again, the center cards and general energy readings, general energy cards will be the two at the back here. And I have pulled 3 additional cards which just relate to more advice cards basically for the month of May 2020. And I know they're out of view here. I'm just limited by my equipment, but that would be the 8 of Gabriel. And then there's the 4 of Ariel. And then I also have the 5 of Raphael. So again, this is a reading for career and finance for Sagittarius, and it's for the month of May 2020. I also use an additional deck. Sometimes I just switch it up here, but I do have an additional card here, which is just more of a general energy read as well, and that one's from my Illusionist Tarot, Impressionist Tarot, and that's by Corrine Kenner. The 2 at the back are a part of the fortune reading cards, which are by Sharina Starr. And so I'll get right to it. And if you like my channel, please like and subscribe. And thank you to all those that do stop by and go through the readings with me. So I just wanted to, again, start with the general energy of the month of May. And to be honest, there's a lot of, I'll just give you sort of an overview here. What I was able to pick up from the reading basically was that there's a lot of, I don't know if it's deception or a lot of secrets or there's a lot of unclear energy here. And I'm not really sure where that's coming from or what it relates to, if it's relationships, friendships, something along that line. But I noticed that, of course, for sure, you've got the Beware card at the start. You've also got the Moon card. The Moon card also shows up in the reading itself. So this is, a duplicate basically. You do have a lot of, even though some of this part of the reading is a little further out, you do have some anxiety cards here as well that were more clarifiers for the Aid of Pentacles. And because they're all sort of surrounding Pentacles and there's a relationship card here, although I don't tend to read the relationships in depth, I do feel that they often overlap with our money situations. So I feel that that there is some reference to a relationship and some kind of a loss. There might even be sort of some legal issues surrounding this as well. And I feel that there is some reflection of you, looking back on the past and trying to kind of look at things, what went wrong, and trying to manifest things into a different mindset. But overall, I feel that there is some kind of decision that needed to be made. And for the month of May, it just feels like there's a lot of emotional turmoil for you. In terms of money itself, I feel there's a lot of over control, hanging on to things rather tightly. And I don't know if that's because there's a fear that something might be taken away, but either way, I just feel like there is some difficulty in the month of May and indecision, and definitely related to another party. But again, there's a lot that's not yet come to the surface with the Moon card and the Warning card with the Beware from the onset. So anyway, just to get into the reading itself, I'll start with the first card. Again, is Beware. It's a little far for me to reach it, so I think what I'll do is I'll just try to get right into it. But it is the green card here at the very end. So the Beware card is to be careful who you trust at this time. So it is, of course, a warning card. You could be in danger of taking on too many risks and financially, and so just to but I don't know that that's really what I'm picking up. I mean, I don't think it's related to your finance, just because I feel that there's a whole bunch of cards here that, speak to you hanging on, to money because you're fearing some kind of loss here. So I don't feel it's related to, the warning is not about your money. I think the warning card, it has more to do with your relationships. Again, if this is a factor in that distrust, or that area of deceit, or things not being brought to the forefront, it could also speak to, the Beware card could also speak to excessive alcohol or drugs or food intake at this time, where there's some kind of a dependence, whether it's on a codependent type relationship or just in general not being able to, temper your vices, that kind of thing. So in terms of relationships, it can speak to affairs of the heart being really stormy. So it's just leaving you vulnerable, where you may not be making the wisest choices here. It can also speak to, somehow someone else has maybe zapped your confidence away from you. But basically, you do need to listen to your intuition. You do have a few cards here that speak to intuition coming through, and that, you can certainly rely on that. When you ask the divine for some guidance, and again, being very precise, being very specific, you will be able to be guided and navigate through your issues. But again, you have to be specific. It's not enough just to say, help me get through this pain. It needs to be more precise. The divine can't come in and assist you unless you open the doorway specifically for them to address that issue. So anyway, just as I say, just as a side note, again, with the Beware card, I do feel that it is related to some kind of heartache here. Either you are not putting your best interests at heart, or you're allowing temptation to pull you into a situation that, you're maybe mistaking lust for love, something along that line. But you want to try to see people for who they are. And because with the Moon card, there is an indication as well that there's illusions here as well. Things are not being seen with all clarity. So maybe you're falling into sort of an ego mindset and allowing flattery to direct you in a particular way that does not, serve you, but does match the dream in your head. So it could also speak to some jealousy, that kind of thing going on. But whatever it is, it's kind of a toxic energy here. So toxic friendship or a toxic relationship, something along that line. So moving into, actually, before I get to the Moon card, just to also give you a little more detail about the Beware card in terms of money. As I said, I feel this is more relationship oriented. This somehow influences your money, and you're just feeling a little more vulnerable at this time. But if it is pertaining to money, it would be that you could fear losing your money. That you're. I just don't feel that you're really somebody who is, that does fall prey to get rich quick schemes, that kind of thing. I think that you are somebody who is a little more methodical in your approach to money, and not really a spendthrift. I mean, certainly we all have moments where we can be a little more reckless with things that we tend to indulge in. For example, if you buy a lot of books, or you get quite excited about taking bike trips, or whatever it might be for you. But the point is that it's just not a good time for you to be borrowing money, to be putting money out, because I feel that there could even be some unexpected bills that are coming up here that might cause you a little bit of stress. So you just want to be a little more mindful of that. Okay, so the Moon card. And again, you've got this replicating here, so it's more than once. And again, with the warning card from the onset, I think you really have to pay attention to things that are not being revealed to you. You are being asked to pay attention to your intuition at this time and move ahead confidently. So you are being guided, and you certainly, being told, or I shouldn't say told, but you're certainly being influenced to take a look at the things that are not obvious. So your intuition is quite strong at this moment. So you do want to rely on your gut feelings and any other messages or signs or synchronicities or, repeating numbers or things along that line that might trigger your attention. But when you are guided with your intuition, it is also about problems being solved easier because you're making those decisions, based on your intuition. So you are being guided and you are being given some kind of some clarity throughout the month of May. But again, it's intuitive clarity. So long as you stay receptive and open to that, you should be okay. But it is still a warning about looking out for deception. So just about, again, a two-faced friend or lover or family member. You're just not seeing something as it is. You're seeing something for what it appears and not what it is. But anyway, in terms of business relationships or acquaintances, that kind of thing, it does let you know that there is some kind of new ventures on the forefront there. So sometime throughout the month of May, you will be, finding some kind of success in things that you start and that you're able to move forward on. It's also letting you know in terms of health, everything should be fine here in terms of May. You've got positive health. But again, with career and money and that kind of thing, there are definitely new ideas and creativity that come up with the Moon card. But because this Moon card is clarified with a self-sabotage card of the Eight of Swords, I still feel this is more about a deception of some sort that is underlying the reading. And that there's some kind of confrontation or something that, you need to be aware of that's coming up, some kind of heated discussion or something that is going to be coming to light here. So try not to get involved with any gossip, anything like that, because it could be really full-blown, full-scale, situation that could close some doors for you. But again, it's just about making you aware that you need to still be moving forward. You need to still be allowing yourself to manifest, because there is also, even though this card of manifestation is coupled with, some nostalgia and some things of the past and some relationship, again, of course, still sort of overshadows the reading. I still feel that you are closing some of those doors, or someone else is helping you to close those doors so that you can actually move forward. So something has to change, enable for you to go ahead here on that front. So moving on past that, again, those are just general energies for the month of May. In terms of the actual read itself for career and finance, I do feel that with the Four of Swords, it is a reclusive retreat card, and it is clarified with the Sun card. But I do feel that, and the swords for sure represent things that deal with your mind, that you're worrying about something here, that there is, and this is at the beginning of May, that you're taking some time to be alone, or maybe it's a forced sort of shutdown situation there, again, because of quarantine, who knows, but I do feel that you are resting, that there's a healing that's taking place here. There's some kind of recuperation with that card, and as it is clarified with the Sun card, I do feel that that adds an extra blessing, so it's really about a healthy seclusion. I don't feel that it's you're just feeling drained or exhausted, and you're just pulling back, basically. You're just taking that time out and recuperating. So I don't feel there's anything noteworthy in the beginning of May as an issue, but it is followed by the Seven of Pentacles, so you are taking this time to start making some plans to move forward. You are at the beginning stage of something, but you're also you're questioning yourself about what next. This is a stage of what next. Where do I put my energies? It can also represent a delayed success of some sort, but either way, it's a break away from that hard work, and you're preparing some kind of new strategy. It does it does carry a change in direction energy with it as well. And so, there, as I said, there were some new things that I feel you were moving ahead towards. Some old doors are closing, and maybe you felt that there was some kind of deprivation, and that now you're just getting back on your feet here with this card. But either way, you're taking care of yourself, and you're looking after things, and you're starting to slowly come out of, whatever the restriction was that. I don't want to say plagued you, but hindered you in some way, or left you feeling like you had some kind of lack. So it is about hard work and again, just managing your affairs by starting to look ahead and, do a reality check on your progress, basically. So moving past that, again with the Six of Cups, cups are all about emotional states and how we deal with feelings and that kind of thing. And I feel with the Six of Cups, you might be reminiscing here a little bit, and with the Magician, that can also represent in terms of feelings, wanting more control over, maybe the outcome of what had happened in the past here. But it's you basically looking back on things, things that might have maybe soul bonds or just, childhood memories or, reconciliations, that relationships that you had where there was some kind of a sharing. But it is also a card of illusions. So coupled with the Magician, it could also speak to a little bit of that, but I feel that it is more about, you looking back innocently and appreciating, the things that you've learned, how far you've come, and some of those happy moments, from the past that could even be your children that you're thinking about. But it is, a pleasurable feeling here, with this card. It's about that family and friends and good feelings that you're looking back on. Again, because it is connected to the Magician, I mean, for sure, the Magician in another light can represent, the ability to create and manifest and magical energy and empowering. It can also represent a person, somebody who's a little bit chatty and a trickster and can be a little bit deceitful and all of those things. But I feel in this spread that the Magician really relates more to your ability to kind of create your own destiny, but also using your intuition with this card, but in terms, because it's so closely related to the Six of Cups, I feel that this is a combination about you, having control over trying to regain control over your life when it's coupled with the Six of Cups. That's what it feels more so to me. Because it is a card of success and realizing your potential, but I feel it's about you just trying to, again about control, because I feel there's just some cards around this that feel, not that things were out of control, but that you felt that you needed more control. So anyway, again, I feel that this Magician clarifying the Six of Cups is about you you're reflecting so that you can go forward and kind of regain some balance and control, sense of control over your life again. Controlling yourself, controlling your emotions, controlling your life, anything along that line. The Three of Pentacles, normally the Three of Pentacles can be a card representing collaboration, and certainly still can be that. It is a card of collaboration, to achieve mastery in something. It's generally a lucky omen card. It's about that team spirit, being passionate and about something and aware of your potential and not to give up, basically, is what the card says. But as far as feelings go, it can also represent a growing phase. And again, I feel like feelings are a part of this reading more so than, your finances. I feel that your finances are in some kind of a planning stage, nothing really dramatic that's taking place in the month of May. It's just like a quiet underlying energy. But I feel it's about, something related to your feelings here, where you're learning to respect yourself a little bit here. You're trying to pull your skills together and move forward. But with the Two of Swords clarifying this, there could also be some kind of difficult choice in teamwork, or an indecision of some sort in collaborating. So it could be a stagnancy as well in relation to work. But again, it's, still aware of your potential, still have a lot of opportunity to create and manifest, but somehow there's some kind of restriction here. I just feel that you're still up in your head a little bit here toward the beginning of May. Following that is the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands can represent, again, a person. Queens are usually, more oriented toward the details of things. But the Queen is, for sure, inspiring energy. It can also represent somebody who is a Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius. And it certainly is somebody who has a need to express themselves. So this can be you or somebody else, but it's also a card of being focused. So again, it can be you or someone else that is influencing the reading. So in terms of situation or general energy, it's acting intuitively here with this as well, and it's about turning things in this person's favor, because they understand how to win. This is somebody who's generally, as a person, would be characterized as an optimistic, attractive person, somebody who's charismatic, friendly, easygoing, and somebody who could be even in around the age of 30 to 50, that kind of thing. But generally, a queen is a mature energy. It's somebody who has a deeper understanding of themselves. So again, could represent you or somebody else in the reading, but queens lead differently than kings, and they are for sure still change makers. They're approachable, and they are more emotional and nurturing in situations, and there's more of a keeping up of appearances here with this kind of card. But, again, as far as could be somebody who's, quite a socialite too, really likes to chat, that kind of thing, very popular, bit of a chameleon. But again, I feel it's a little unclear to me whether or not that is I think it is actually a person that's represented in your reading versus just the qualities of, kind of moving forward and being career oriented, that kind of thing. Because this is somebody who's a leader and is fiercely determined, and the rest of the reading doesn't really speak to, you taking the bull by the horns and headed out in a direction of, courage and determination. You're more in an energy of contemplation. So I feel this is a little more oriented toward a person. So we also have, and maybe this is the person that we're referring to that has maybe lead you astray in some way, where things have yet to come to light. But with the Five of Swords, that's generally indicating there's some kind of a hard win here. So I don't see any cards that indicate that there was a lot of hurt and turmoil and loss, anything along that line. But with the Five of Swords, it can represent some kind of a court issue or something that with the Justice card coming through here, and then you're also being told to be strong, to be strong and sitting in your power and courageous, that kind of thing. So, I mean, it could very well represent some kind of energy around a legal issue. But it's also, the Five of Swords can indicate that there's some kind of a limitation around, it could even be a relationship, a limitation around a relationship, or that there's some power games going on, that there's some kind of hostility about, who's going to win this battle. It could also represent theft, although I don't actually see the Seven of Swords, so I'm gonna pull back on that one. But I feel that there could be somebody who's a little bit bitter here, something that would require an individual to shift their perspective and their mindset, just so that they are able to release some of that tension. Again, I feel like it's an underlying need for change. There's just something that is a little unexpected or mental struggle coming through here. But again, when it is clarified with the Justice card, I just feel that there was some wrong that needed to be righted here as well as a part of the reading. So again, it just feels like the right decision was made here as well with this card. Some kind of problem was resolved in regards to that situation, whatever that situation was for you. There's some kind of equilibrium or balance is being restored as you move further into about the middle of May. Sorry. Then we have the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles, represents a card of restraint and, it's restriction. It's hanging on to things tightly. Pentacles, of course, revolves around our money, so it doesn't have to be specifically money, but it's kind of a closing off energy here. So again, it could be a closing off of a relationship or closing off of yourself, holding on to grudges, can also be about just hanging on too tight, or a control freak, somebody who has a lot of emotional insecurity here, penny pinching, possessiveness, anything like that, or even just hanging on to past issues. And it could very well be that too, because there is a sense of loss with the Four of Cups, on the ground there. So the Four of Cups isn't necessarily a bad card. As I say, there's still cups standing. It's just that you're feeling that over the situation, and maybe that's why you're closing off. You're feeling over the situation is that you now have you're left with some kind of hurt defensive feeling, or you're feeling like there's a reason for you to hesitate in going forward. It's just a feeling of overall discontent or doubt, self-doubt. And so there is some kind of recovery that needs to be taking place here. But it just suggests some kind of emptiness there. So there is a refusal to, to move ahead, and you're kind of seeking refuge. Oh, actually, that's the Five of Cups. All right, I need to clarify that one. That is actually similar to the Four of Cups, but it is about a sense of loss and disappointment. So again, it's still very similar. It is that loss and disappointment, holding on to deep feelings of anger or frustration, feeling like your energy may have shot out in, a number of directions, and you didn't really know how to handle it. But it is where there's some kind of a strain in a relationship, and it's really about somebody who's not really investing, somebody maybe being a bit selfish here as well with this card. But I feel that there's some kind of boundaries that are being set up here. So things are restrictive, but there's several cups still standing, so there's still hope there. But again, it's about loss and disappointment, focusing too much on the negative, and you're just projecting your fears outward here, and there's a lot of, deep resentment, feelings of anger and frustration. But just to embrace the changes, because, we all are given obstacles for a reason, and that's to grow and into a direction that is, hopefully more favorable for us. If you listen to your inner wisdom, you will be guided toward a road that is more in line or congruent with your path. If you go against the grain and you're just really radical and you're shutting off on your intuition, you don't really know where that path could lead you, and it might be a long circuitous route to get back to where you need to be. So moving on from that is the Empress. And the Empress is, a feeling of abundance. It could also represent a person, but it is it's a time of lots of ideas coming through as well, or it can also be an energy of, something has kind of come to bear fruit or feels really good, and you're taking action on it because there's some kind of reciprocity, and I feel it might be related to a relationship here as well. But there's plenty of success, and you're having something go well in about that middle to end of May. It can also be where you are developing yourself here, and it does speak to that creative and nurturing feminine kind of fertile ground, really. So it's about nurturing self, and it's also the birth of ideas, but it's about sort of sitting in your own power as well, and being instinctive, and able to focus on, just able to focus on, it is also a Libra energy as well, so in case there is a Libra involved here. But it's just got an overall mysterious, elusive, positive, taking action, sensual kind of feel to it. It's a great time toward that middle end, where there is some kind of reciprocity that's coming through. And again, with the Six of Pentacles, I mean, that's a sign of some level of success there, and you may be sharing with someone else, or they're sharing with you. But with the Six of Pentacles, it is about balance and fairness here as well. So it is also speaks to a reconciliation. So again, it could be a reconciliation with the Libra and this coupleship here. But it is also speaking to things. It can speak to seeking approval, having some kind of, being in a secure position here as well with regards to this relationship. But I feel that overall there's some kind of magnetism going on there, that there is, some luck, some generosity, some positive energy that's coming through. And I do feel it is a reconciliation actually with this. And that's probably why there was some nostalgia earlier on in the month of May. But again, with the couples, with the Lovers card there, I mean, that is, things kind of coming to some kind of a completion. So something is coming forward to let you know that it's moving in a positive light anyway with the Lovers card. So again, there is still something that's underlying that's not quite being revealed here yet. You might have some false friends around, or maybe there's some poor advice that's being given to you, but something is not quite right overall. So just be aware of that, and not to jump too hastily in with both feet, because there is some energy here that's still just, nothing has been completely upfront. So with, again, the Lovers card, I do feel that there's some kind of true harmony or whatever that's coming through with this card, and that you're feeling more positive. It's also a card of protection and spiritual ascension, but again, I feel this is more about a love relationship and some kind of sense of completion, harmony and happiness. And I wouldn't say there's some kind of a decision to be made in regards to this necessarily, although it did speak to some kind of indecision here around the nostalgia earlier, or back in the earlier part of May. But again, it is still following your intuition with this card as well, but it also speaks to big changes coming. And, and it does generally involve two people. Partnership, could be business partnership, not really sure how it, is manifesting for you, but I do feel that there is some kind of a passionate nature, some kind of a passionate relationship here. So moving on past that, again, the Moon card is what came up, and we've kind of covered that, I think, about there still being some anxiety or a lot of negative thinking, or something that's not yet been revealed. But again, it feels like it's a little more deceit-oriented, something that's still under the surface, still under this in the subconscious. It could be, again, causing you insecurities as well, because it is clarified with the Eight of Swords, which is really a self-imposed self-sabotage, that kind of thing. It does represent a Cancer energy here as well with the Moon card, but you could be even having, vivid dreams and things that might be giving you some of these warnings. But again, it's a card of illusion. So just wait. Something is yet to come to light. And again, maybe it is giving you some apprehension or anxiety or insecurity because you're not quite understanding what's happening. But there is some kind of unseen problem here yet. So don't jump too hastily. Okay, so moving past that, it is into the Eight of Pentacles. Again, Eight of Pentacles, there is a progression. It does go from the Seven to the Eight of Pentacles. So I feel that there's some growth here that's happening in the month of May. Eight of Pentacles in itself, in terms of money, does speak to, getting a job done, paying attention to details, hardworking, dedicated, training for a new skill, that kind of thing. And it is also followed by the Knight of Pentacles, which is also about news coming in. It's a slower moving energy in terms of money, though. So, this may be something you're still working on, but there's nothing that's really come to fruition yet. And I don't see that anything is really all life altering or changing in the month of May in terms of your finances. I think there's no real, dramatic changes to the negative either, but I just feel it's just hard work, discipline, continuing, much the same. You're just you're enjoying your time, you're enjoying what you do. You're just persevering. Again, there's nothing that's coming through here that speaks to any real dramatic changes. You're just working hard for it. And with that Knight of Pentacles as well, it's again the same sort of energy. Knight of Pentacles, really reliable kind of person, hardworking, determined, faithful, all of that, combined with the Eight of Pentacles, same sort of energy. Really efficient, stable energy, embracing potentials. You're not doing any risk taking. You're I feel this is you coming through with this energy too. It's not usually that you're a self-starter. I feel that you are just moving on in this path, much in the same way that you always have been. You might be still in a stage of planning and trying to figure out, how you want to reinvent yourself to a degree, but it's a very controlled energy toward whatever this project or this decision that you ultimately will come to. It's a conservative sort of traditional feel regardless. But anyway, not somebody who's extremely adventurous here with that Knight of Pentacles, but it is followed by the Queen of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles as well is somebody who's coming in as somebody who's very home loving and cares about, their family or those that they consider family, that kind of thing. It's a really nurturing, creative energy here as well. It speaks to being resourceful, that kind of thing. If it is a person that's coming into your life or that's been a part of your life, it's somebody who's charming and loyal and, somebody who just knows how to create and be practical and nurture, and they can use their resources wisely and expand that. So it does speak to somebody who could be a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy, but either way, they're a multitasker. Could be a Capricorn as well coming through here, but it's somebody who's really supportive of family and, really just looks after things. Really nurturing energy here. So in terms of a partnership, it could be that somebody who's enriching your life. It could also be that. But again, it was clarified following here with the Knight of Wands. And with the Knight of Wands, again, that's still a message that's coming through here. Wands are a little faster moving as well, but it is a card of energy and action and adventure, and really determined energy. But in terms of feelings, it's about strong feelings that can go in all directions, and sometimes it can lead to rage, that kind of thing. But I feel that it is related to, I feel that there's slower energy coming through in terms of money, but as far as, and continue to work on the details, but I feel that there is also some sense of passionate feelings that where somebody hates to be possessed here, and that's coming through with this Knight of Wands, could be a little insensitive, somebody who is a little restless or unreliable or impatient, that kind of thing. So there's also a message coming through following that is the Chariot. And the Chariot can generally speak to victories. It can also speak to travel, but I don't see any other cards really sort of forming around that would indicate it's travel. It can, as I say, speak to some kind of a victory, but it can also speak to a strong motivation. So there's a strong motivation, I feel. It's also a Cancer energy, and that there's some kind of big victory that's near. And it could also speak to settling of debts and moving into new territory, toward the very end of the month. Again, it can also speak to travel, but I feel that there's not a lot of cards that necessarily, veer in that direction. I just feel that it has more to do with ambition and determination, and that there's a lot of choices ahead here with I guess it's a little hard to see the final card there. It's about getting what you want, and that there is, with the Seven of Cups, a lot of choices. Can also speak to a lot of anxiety around these options, but I feel that you're getting what you want here at the end of the month, and you're overcoming whatever challenges were before you. So, and it still speaks to, control, self-control, and ambition and determination, but it's progress and it's success. So the last three cards are the cards, just general energies, and these ones are related to the Archangel Power Tarot cards, Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. So these ones were the Aid of Gabriel. And again, that card is just letting you know that there's a great deal of activity, sudden and immediate results, and important communication. When the cards were laid out, I initially felt that not every aspect is relative to you with these advice cards. I felt that as far as the Aid of Gabriel, I do feel that there is some kind of delay that's coming through in the month of May. I don't know that it's moving at a fast pace. I didn't get any of that energy that it was a fast pace for the month of May for you. But it did indicate that with that card that there's just maybe too many things that are going on at once. So for you, it may not be that you're having to, run out there and be courageous and brave and move on to new projects and get started and, make mass communication over the internet to move things ahead. I feel it's not that, and it's more of just a feeling of overwhelm. Because again, with the Seven of Cups, even though there's a victory that's coming through here in the month of May, I did feel that that the Seven of Cups, with all those options, again, it's still lots of anxiety, lots of overwhelm that still can be related with those two cards anyway. So I feel it's more that, and that you're still trying to organize a plan so things don't spin out of control. There is new information and messages that are also coming through for the month of May that are relevant. So that communication is important to you and your business. I do feel that, again, you're getting these flashes of inspiration coming through as well for the month of May. So things might be a little more sporadic on that level. The next card following that was the Four of Ariel, and it's when you give, you also receive, being resistant to change, extremes in how you save or spend money. Again, I didn't feel that you were overspending. It could be that there is an unexpected expenditure, and that, because I just don't feel like you're willingly overspending. I feel that it could for sure be some kind of unexpected expenditure. And definitely with the Four of Ariel, it did talk about reciprocity and that kind of thing, which you did have coming through here in terms of some kind of a coupleship as well. But it can also speak to resources being shared here as well. But a person can also be closed off and blocking some of that abundance, which is quite possible here, because you also had that blockage closed off here with the Four of Pentacles, very close to the abundance card, and a sense of loss. So it feels like there is some kind of restriction around where you are deliberately closing yourself off emotionally from whatever that abundance means to you, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional. But it's just a reminder that, these are worthy things to put ourselves into. So, it's I'm not saying take high risk, do so under some degree of control and rationality. But I do feel that you're letting your fear-based thoughts limit your actions. So be willing to share whatever talents and emotion, that you have, and try to step away from some of these over control issues here, because it's holding you back in some way, and you are resisting change, and that's coming through pretty clear on a lot of the cards here. As I said, I felt that there was a lot of feeling of over control. But again, there's some things that still need to come to the surface, which maybe that will be a deciding factor in helping you to move ahead. I did actually need 3 more cards I needed to go through, but I'll finish with these. So the 5 of Raphael, that serves me right for doing it so late at night. Anyway, 5 of Raphael is this is the last card of advice. So it also speaks to everything happens for a reason. Release regret and embrace the opportunities for happiness and search for the silver lining. So just that, it is a card letting you know that there's something else that's positive that's still waiting for you, that maybe you've turned away something. And the card is, the universe is really letting you know you may have turned it away, but it's okay to actually trust this, embrace those changes, and it's trying to send you in this new direction, because it does, the universe has your long-term happiness in mind here. And so it's okay to change your focus and reach out to people with this card. And again, through much of the reading, I felt that was there was a lot of self-sabotage, as I said, a lot of holding back and restriction, and it did feel like it was around some kind of a relationship issue, but something emotional anyway. Okay, so again, the last 3 cards I didn't get to here. That is the Knight of Wands, and it was coming through with the Judgment following, clarified with a 9 of Pentacles. So with the Knight of Wands, the King of Wands, the King of Wands, again, is really, it's a fiery energy. It is something that moves a little faster, and it also, as a king, represents somebody who is very dramatic. And whether this is you or somebody that's coming in, this is an intention, setting an intention. If it's not a person, it's setting an intention. It's about being creative, taking action. I do feel this is actually a person for you, though. It is about that potential for growth as well, and sort of mastering something. And in terms of a person, it's somebody who doesn't like the details, somebody who's wise and open and positive, adventurous, a lighter-haired person, somebody who likes to be center stage, very confident, powerful, inspirational, authority. Doesn't have to be male or female. The energies are fluid that way. But it is somebody who's really vital and dramatic and really independent person. And so whether this is a person that is, because it's coming through with the Judgment card as well as the 9 of Pentacles, there is, maybe it's based around some kind of a decision. Maybe this is somebody who's giving you advice. But either way, I do feel that with the 9 of Pentacles, there's a sense of independence that's coming through here. So whether you are becoming independent because you're moving away from someone in a romantic situation, but it can be giving you a sense of liberation and kind of knowing who you are again. So maybe you needed to reground yourself and pull back. But I would say, like with the Judgment card, again, the 9 of Pentacles, it can speak to money as well coming through, and it definitely is a progression there. But for some reason, with the 7 and the 8 and the 9, I just feel like it's a calculated approach with money yet. Nothing is coming through specifically for May. And I do feel it is a level of independence that you're working on here. With you trying to transform things to move ahead. It can also be leading, with the Judgment card, it can be about a choice or a decision that's related to work and related to your independence, about whether or not you want to go back to work, whether or not you want to continue as you are. I don't know what your financial state is, but it does feel like it's fairly secure. But again, it just feels like it's some kind of, could even be some kind of resurrection from the past. Somebody's coming back in from the past, because it's just some energy around that. And if we are talking about a time frame, I mean, this is summer with the Judgment card. But again, I feel that you're moving. The Judgment is about you're trying to move into more of an independent mindset here with the Nine of Pentacles. But again, you're being told that it's okay to trust in something, but I feel that just not everything has been revealed to you. So just not to jump too hastily. So I don't know that it is a dangerous situation necessarily. I just feel it's a warning that maybe you don't have the full picture to be able to go forward in a relationship. There's not enough information there for you to be, for you to feel secure. But anyway, the Nine of Pentacles, as I said, as the final card, is really about, being resourceful and accomplished, and somebody who's feeling they've got self-discipline. And it's really also somebody who enjoys being alone and is not afraid to be themselves or be by themselves. So I believe that is a big part of who you are and about what's coming through in this reading. So again, there's still some things to be revealed with the Moon card, and not to jump too hastily into something. You are okay to trust, but you need to, before you make any final decisions, you need to make sure that you have some clarity on where you're headed. The last card I didn't actually get to yet is, this is the Impressionist Tarot, and they usually have some really inspirational phrases. And so I'll read this one directly from the book, because I really like this deck. And it is a card, the Seven of Wands is what this card represents. So this card in particular is about a country. The country only has charms for those not obliged to stay there. This was Edward Manet. And so on first impression, we're looking at the card represents a French country home, and it's on a hill. And it's someone's dream home, and it's designed for entertaining. So it's cooled by a gentle breeze. It's comfortably furnished inside and out, and it's easily secured, and it's safe, and the trees are a fence, and the windows are easily seen. And there's also a heavy door, and it's locked, and it's impenetrable. So this is Edward Manet, the House of Ruel. Sorry if I mispronounced that, 1882. So Manet stayed at this House of Ruel during the last summer of his life in 1882. He was gravely ill with syphilis, and his left leg was riddled with gangrene, and he was practically immobile. So he knew that his life was coming to a close, and he was extremely ambitious in this last phase of his life. So he made detailed portraits, all of women who came to visit him. He painted the gardens on huge canvas with bright colors, and the house at Riel was his last landscape. So it was painted in the shade of an acacia tree. He died the next spring at the age of 51, and after an unsuccessful attempt to save his life by amputating his leg. The irony of all of this is that the card represents or is associated with strength and vitality. So the correlation does illustrate Manet's courage in the face of overwhelming odds, which is kind of interesting here. But if a man's home is his castle, the Seven of Wands is a bastion of safety and strength. Invaders may storm the fortress, but they can't breach the sanctuary. So with the warning card and the moon from the onset and throughout the reading, it does feel as though you have not so much a relationship issue to be wary of, but it could be something related to work, could be related to a false friend, but something's not quite right. And so, as I say, the house is a metaphor for the physical body as well. It's the dwelling place of the soul. So when you're strong and well built, you can withstand almost any attack, spiritual, emotional, intellectual, or physical. So the card again is a card of courage, advantage, positioning, and success. And I did feel toward the end, as I said, with the other cards, that there was some kind of a victory that was coming through there. There was success for you at the end of May. So I wouldn't have too much fear. Whatever it is that you're being warned about, I feel that you'll get a heads up. You'll get that intuitive inkling that something's not quite right and redirect your energy. But just to be aware of that. So that is your reading, Sagittarius, for the month of May. And I'll try not to do it so late at night. And maybe I'll be a little faster in the read. Regardless, stay safe, and we will talk to you in the month of June.